Good morning, everyone. This is Anne Marie. Today is Tuesday, November the 6th, and this is SPY Outlook for the day. As yesterday, folks, we are looking at a very choppy day ahead. Notice yesterday did not allow us to resolve anywhere. We did come up, test an event on Friday, but on Monday we just stayed in this very, very tight range. If I'm to move this over to the left so we can take a look, actually the range, we'll count that wick. The range has gotten much tighter, right? And so that's what we're really going to be looking at for a break, because we've got a series of higher lows underneath here, but we still have lower highs above. What that looks a little bit like is kind of a dirty flag action here, right? If we look at this event like that, we could see maybe we're in a little bit of a bearish flag, but I think that might be the wrong interpretation if we consider that to be a bearish flag. I think it's probably better for us to look at it in terms of this event, this channel bound event, because that's really what we are waiting for. We're waiting for resolution to the questions that we have posed to us. So what's the trade today? Well, truthfully, the trade today is if you are sitting in the broad markets, you've got to be trading on very small time frames so that you can trade level to level and get out with the gyrations. Notice, let's take a look at, now the very last part of the day we did have a few things start moving nicely, but let's go to a 5-minute chart. All right, and actually let's position that. Hang on 2 secs. So while that adjustment was being made, didn't want you to just stand there waiting or sit there waiting. Okay, so here we have the 5-minute chart in SPY. Now, you can clearly see that if you do anything dastardly like use a trailing stop, no, please don't, she says very sincerely. But a lot of people do, right? So if you're using something like a trailing stop, you really are going to get knocked out of here, because take a look at how deep this retracement event is. Right, it pulls all the way into here. Now, unless you have your stop at, break even when you move through things, and you don't have a tight trailing stop, you'll be okay here. All right, now, oh, look at that. Look at that. 1618 wave action, putting it from here to here. All right, so we could say that's an extended ABCD pattern that just got completed right there. However, that in itself means that all we needed was a 61.8 retracement, and that came after hours. All right, so we really are not focused on that too much. So let's get rid of this so it's not cluttered. And let's talk about this again. So here we can obviously see this wick is providing some level of resistance. I saw a couple of people say they see head and shoulders patterns in here or there or whatever. I think head and shoulders patterns are completely unreliable, but that's just me, my personal bias. I think anything that you have to turn your head sideways to look at sometimes and keep one eye closed is a little too loosely defined for me, which is why I like harmonics, right? They have specific events, they look certain ways, they have to hold certain forms, and then I'm able to put a measure of reliability upon that that gives me some comfort level, right? Not so much with a head and shoulders pattern. Not that they don't work. Sometimes they do, but the operative word is sometimes. In any case, here's what we look at. I do believe there's a relief rally coming, irrespective of who wins. That's got nothing to do with anything right here. It's just getting rid of indecision. It's going to be pent-up buying pressure that's going to be sitting wherever it is that it's at. We've got to get an itchy trigger finger to move on. But today, with the little move that we have up in the pre-market, the high that SPY has read this morning is 142.39. So we are gapping up over this event, because this is 142.20. 142.39 looks to be where? Yeah, right around there. That's where our pre-market action is. So we've got ourselves popped out of the channel, but you know, we did pop out of the channel here and fail it. Now here's a pretty thing. Here's what you need to look at. Certainly as a trader, we have a problem with, many times, we have problems with tunnel vision and not thinking about things from a wide angle lens. So let's consider the following. Here is a low, here is a high, and here's a higher low, and here's a higher high, and here's a higher low. So now what we're doing is coming into here. If we pull back and we hold these levels right here, this formation here and the formation here is telegraphing a further move to the upside. Now where to the upside are we looking at? Into relative resistance. All right, so your best bet for a nice organized trade in SPY today or some other broad channel event or broad index event is to pull back into a higher low and allow the grind to get you through the trade, right? Meaning just sit around in it. If your bigger candlesticks are still printing higher lows and higher highs, or at least higher lows, you will very likely end up resolving to the upside. What do I think? I think today's going to be another choppy day. I don't really think we're going to see anything until the wee hours of the morning tomorrow, and by the time we get up and get to our desks at 4:30 or 5, we should see some measure of significant movement, right? So, I know, rolled on a lot today, but a lot to talk about because things are really getting ready to move. We just have to see which way. Good luck trading today.